Guess it's time. Okay, hi everybody. I'm just gonna jump into this because it's time. Okay. So on February 29th, 2024, I left Georgia, headed to New Orleans with just a little bit over like $150, a car, and whatever I can fit in my car. Okay. I left behind family. I left behind homosexual and toxic relationships. I left behind fake connections altogether. And I am reading the story, by the way. So, and by March the 1st, all that ended at the border of when I entered Louisiana. So the car, I had just financed it. I just got the car in January. And I thought, like, okay, I got the car now. I'll be able to work. I'll be able to be stable. But nah, instead of settling there in Georgia, I basically just left. And the enemy had already set a stage. When I drove off, I thought I was stepping into freedom because, I'm leaving behind all this toxicity, all this controlling, the people trying to control me. I'm leaving behind all this stuff. I'm like, I'm moving states. Like, I'm leaving. But I thought I was leaving, like, all the hate, all the confusion. But I was really not leaving any of that. I wasn't driving into freedom. I was driving deeper into the enemy's control. Before I left, I had been staying with a girl. I was in this relationship with her, this homosexual relationship, and she didn't want to leave because she didn't want to leave out of fear. And honestly, I didn't mind because she was already using me, and it would have only made things worse. And it was crazy. A couple of days after I got there, she told me to kill myself. So, right then and there, I was just like, cut her off, good. Because honestly, that was relief to me. I didn't know how to really cut her off. But when she said that gave me an excuse. Really, it's not an excuse. It was time. It was supposed to been happen. And to me, it's like after I tell you exactly what happened to me in my life, and then you go in to tell me to kill myself because, I guess, I don't know why she said that. It was just a big no. So, truth is, even before her, like, my life was chaos. I was bouncing from house to house, cycling through jobs, drowning in drugs. In Georgia, cocaine and weed were like my battles, for sure. Like at 17, I got introduced to cocaine. When I was with her, at her house, her sister was a drug dealer, and I was trying to look cool because, I was trying to be this little, I don't know, masculine little girl, right? So I wanted to look cool, so I started popping pills. And plus, I was listening to this artist called Juice WRLD at the time, and that's all he'd rap about was doing pills. So I started doing Roxy's, Perks, and, just trying to look cool. And nobody cared. She didn't care. I didn't care. Nobody cared anyway because all of them, they was drowning me anyway. They was just drowning me, didn't care. They didn't care if I died. They just wanted what I had because at the moment, I was working a lot. And I actually had money coming in. So, yeah. So, look, I get to not New York. Sorry, I'm in New York right now. But I get to New Orleans. And let's just say, man, I'm trying to get back to... Okay, so at first... I'm sorry, y'all. We lost track. So, by the time I got to New Orleans, I was alone. Nobody to call. Nobody checking for me. Loneliness hit hard until I remembered a dude I had met back online in December of 2023, right? So, this is March to 2024 when I entered Louisiana. And so, the dude I met last year, the year before that, I remembered. I was like, wait, there was a dude I met online and he lived in Louisiana. So I was like, let me hit him up. And I'm telling you, from then on, everything was just like, everything went downhill, okay? So look, when I first got there, like I told you, I left with my car. I left with $150, and everything I had was in the car, and I slept in the car. Like I was sleeping in the car, and when I got there, like I set the GPS just to New Orleans. I set it just to New Orleans, and it took me like I didn't know what street or what. It just took me to this neighborhood, and the neighborhood was called the Third Ward. Now I didn't know that's what it was called at that time. I didn't even know what part of New Orleans I was in, but that neighborhood, it was really notorious for and infamous for drug users, drug dealers, and death on every corner. Okay. One night while I was sitting in my car, a man walked up to me and asked me if I was okay, acting all concerned, like he was really trying to help. Minutes in the conversation, he's trying to promote me drugs. Like he's trying to tell me, hey, I got drugs, I got this, and I'm doing this, and I got this for you. And if you need anything, like, as far as drugs, no help, no nothing. Like if you need anything as far as drugs, I got you. I'm just like, okay. And so at this time, like, I was smoking weed, but not really, because I was trying to keep my money. But that just put a connection in my head. And so, right then and there, the enemy tried to knit together a drug user and a drug dealer. And that's what you call, it was just destruction disguised as a connection, And in Psalms 1, in Psalms 1, verse 1, it basically tells us that places matter and environments carry spirits. So, I mean, if I basically had the spirit of addiction, there's going to be people who are demon filled and going to be controlled by the devil, and they're going to know, like, hey, even though I don't see you doing no drugs, I'm going to still promote to you these drugs, because it's just a spiritual thing. They know. The demons and devils in them know. And also, we all know John 10:10, the devil comes to steal, kill, and destroy. He even uses counterfeits to give us false provision, like false drug supplies, false counterfeit friends, all that. All false counterfeits. It's counterfeit. And through that connection, I took that connection. Unfortunately, I took that connection. I was like, okay, yeah. But mind you, coming from Georgia, I was doing cocaine and stuff. So it's like, yeah, I want weed, but I'm also looking for this. So through that first connection, I met the other dealer who they said sold that stuff. I asked him for cocaine, but he pointed me to fentanyl. Fentanyl, yes. That night, I tried it. I don't know what was wrong with me, but I tried it for the first time. I had no idea how deadly it was. Like that night, I only did it one time that day. And then it took me a minute to do it again, but we'll get to that. And I had no idea how deadly it was. That's how blind and broken I was, But God spared me that night. Nothing happened. I got high off of it, but like as far as dying or overdosing or no, I'm good. He really showed his grace and mercy on me that night. And that was what New Orleans was for. Like it's fentanyl everywhere there. Using it, really, if you really look at it, using it that night was like communion with the devil. Almost like a toast, like a welcoming, like a baptism into the city's culture of death. Like that was like an initiation almost. Basically so. And so here we have Ephesians 2 verse 2 says, we follow the course of the world, the prince of the power of the air. That was me. The music I listened to wasn't neutral. It was a vehicle for spirits. I listened to people like Suicide Boys, Bones, Trippie Redd, Playboi Carti, and a lot of more demonic music. It was like purely blasphemous, rebellious against the Lord. It was just demonic, okay? It wasn't entertainment. It was initiation, like I said. And the drugs were the fuel. And the overdose for my soul, I say. It was a complete overdose for my soul. And when I found out, look, I didn't even know, I started listening to the Suicide Boys in Georgia. I started listening to this music, in Georgia. So then I get there to New Orleans, and I realized, I looked it up. I love researching different things, and so I eventually ended up looking up where the Suicide Boys were from. That thing said New Orleans, and I was like, what? I'm in New Orleans right now. So I was like, wow, I actually am living the music I listen to, because like, look at me, I'm moving to New Orleans, blah, blah, blah. And before long, my life really mirrored the songs they were talking about. I wasn't even suicidal before I got there, despite what I was going through. But slowly, I became it. The enemy placed me where I thought I belonged. Like, when I got to New Orleans, I was like, this is perfect. I was already doing some like little witchcraft and everything, reading tarot cards and everything before I left. So I'm just like, look, this is perfect. I can learn more about it. I can get deeper into it. But really, God was just setting up exposure. God already had a plan, and the devil's plan wasn't even gonna work for real. And so back to that dude I told you that I met up with. So unfortunately, I idolized him. I worshipped him. Like, girl, I spent my money on him. I drove 300 miles back and forth just to see him. And that's how strong the soul tie was. Like, it was so strong. And he wasn't even just a man, he was a whole warlock. Excuse me. He was a whole warlock. And me, I'm just sitting deeper. I'm just stepping deeper into witchcraft without even realizing it. Like, when I was doing the stuff, listening to the music and doing tarot cards and everything like that, and I knew some part of it was witchcraft, but I didn't know all of what I was doing was pure witchcraft. And so, dealing with this dude, I was just stepping deeper into it. Because, sex isn't just sex. It's spell work. Especially when you're doing it outside of marriage. Yeah. We weren't just hooking up. We were binding ourselves together with word curses, rituals, manifestations. Soul ties weren't just feelings. They became chains. I even cast spells to conceive, to conceive with him and to keep him and to tie myself to him forever. Yeah, it was that type of deep delusion of soul tie. I wasn't dating a man. I was binding myself to darkness, In First Corinthians verse 10, in 1 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 20 to 21, it says that, like, basically, fellowship with demons happens in rituals, even disguised as relationships. And also, 1 Corinthians 6, verse 16 says, joining yourself sexually creates a binding beyond flesh. Beyond flesh. So you think that you just, it's a soul tie. It creates a whole soul tie. So, like, witchcraft isn't always pentagrams and candles and whooshing and washing and all that weird stuff, right? It's manipulation. It's control. It's controlling other people. Trying to force their will. You can't force a person's will. You can't control nobody. Spoken curses, word curses over people, ungodly covenants, and that's just basically having sex outside of marriage or intertwining with someone that is demonified, like working with the devil, but deep inside, it's something resisted. That was the Holy Spirit crying out, this is not it. Because, like, even in the midst of all this stuff, I was just like, something was telling me this is not right, but I didn't know what was not right specifically, but still, like, my money drained into drugs, my soul drained into witchcraft, and every time I thought I was in control, I was really in chains. I was blind, hypnotized, in a complete fog. My actions, words, relationships that I was in, it didn't even register what I was doing, for real. It just didn't register. I was completely blinded. Looking back, I can see I was in the deep delusion. And delusion always explains my choices, but it doesn't erase the accountability, But here's the mercy. Even in fog, God preserved my life. He covered me until I woke up. And that wake up was coming soon. Okay? Now you might ask, like, wait, what do you mean you were trying to conceive? What do you mean you were doing spells? Look, I was into New Age, basically. Simple as that. I'm gonna cut it to you. Astrology, horoscopes, zodiac signs, manifestations, listening to subliminal audio messages, writing scripts, seeking different occultists, basically, witches, wizards, warlocks, speaking affirmations. Yeah, that I'm trying to speak onto myself instead of speaking to Jesus and asking him, telling him to speak life into me. I'm trying to speak life into myself as if I'm God. I thought I was shaping my reality, reading these horoscopes like my life depended on them. Like I wake up every morning, every day, and it's just like, gotta get the horoscope, reading them like daily Bible verses. It was a good, I would not miss a reading. And but really, I was idolizing, the moment I got into a relationship, I'll start saying like, I want to have babies with you. I want to live forever with you. I'm yours forever. I was speaking confidence over myself and with people God never ordained. Dangerous, deadly to the T. That was really deadly. And I would take the zodiac signs to see if like me and another person was like capable or not capable. Yeah, capable and compatible. And one thing I learned later is just seeing what demons are compatible with each other. That's it. That's all. I learned that later though in life, but I'm gonna just tell y'all this now. Like, trying to see what zodiac signs are compatible with each other. You're trying to see what demon and another demon are compatible with each other. Yeah, and it went deeper. Like, I wore one of my sister's old rose quartz necklace. Like, I took it on the way of leaving out of Georgia. I just took it, and I didn't know. In New Age, that's tied to love. I didn't even buy it, but it sat on my chest every day near my heart. I didn't know I was carrying a counterfeit love portal everywhere I went, That gave the enemy a big, a real stronghold over me. I didn't even know it at the time. And with that crystal around my neck, like I was telling you, I was manifesting every day. I was script writing. I was trying to speak life things into existence, writing things down, speaking affirmations, making plans with a man that weren't God's plans, And even the smallest exchanges carried weight. Giving my number to dealers and strangers seemed casual, right? But in the spirit, it was access. Pure access to me. My number wasn't just digits. It was my possession. It was a piece of me, basically, and a door I had no business opening by giving them to these strangers, the drug dealers. Like, this is like, you give your number away, you give it access, giving them access to you. Like, come on, you think that, oh my gosh, they can just call me? Yeah, they can have access to you anytime, basically. And I didn't understand why I was feeling drained, why I was just, no wonder why my peace disappeared. And so, I'm manifesting my best life. But really, I was building altars of bondage, just going deeper, deeper and deeper. And I thought I was being intentional, right? But I was playing God with my words instead of submitting to the true word of God. Look, when I said like things like, I'll love you forever, I'll never leave you, those declarations were cute. Those were confidence, soul ties, words demon could literally grab on a hold of. But by wearing that crystal, I was giving the enemy a legal ground. Like, literally. And walking with an idol on my chest and not even knowing it. Make sure I got this, because I really want to make sure that you guys can understand what I'm saying. So let me just tell you, like, March for me, 2024, it was just a month of empty words, empty manifestations, empty connections, entering a whole demonic principality. And I didn't even know that's what it was at that time, but yeah, that's what it was. And so, when I was listening to that music and doing those drugs, that was just a tag team to bend my soul into hell's rhythm. Yeah. And doing those drugs were just altars of death. And each hit is like a counterfeit communion agreeing with hell's assignment to erase my identity. Okay? And, you know, I want to say that even in the midst of being blinded and being hypnotized and being in this demonic trance, God still preserved me. He kept me. So I'll be able to see next month, the month after that. So look, if you think this was a little crazy, okay, it's good, because April is where a lot of things shift. Now I want you guys to, you know, really hear what's to come, because that's when it went from playing with fire to me standing in the middle of fire. Okay, so thank you guys for listening. So if you think March is wild, wait till you hear what happens next.